Alright guys, how's it going? It is Monday, the 31st of December 2018, New Year's Eve and all that shit. And you're watching KopTalk.tv, alright. So New Year and all that. Listen, you know, I want to wish you the very best for the new year ahead to you, your family, you know, everything. I'm not a big fan of it myself, do you know what I mean? It's New Year, same shit, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? But I've just had a bath, just got out. And yeah, in preparation for this evening, I'm gonna have a few sherbets, you know what I mean. And I was thinking in the bath about Peter Thompson, you know, because he obviously has passed away, and the news came out today, really. And I wanted to just make a quick video to acknowledge Peter, really, with you guys. Back in the day, you know, I've done KopTalk for 20 years now, but back in the day, in the late 90s or something like that. Peter used to help me with the website. He used to do a column and send articles and things like that. He was a really, really nice guy. Those of you that go that far back will recall, you know, we had a lot of former writers and players, former players that were writing for us back then. Jan Molby, Ian St. John, Rob Jones, Peter. There's some more in there somewhere, but. Barry Venison as well, and because at the time back then the internet was in its infancy, really, to the general public, you know, mainstream public, if you like, and you couldn't. It was unheard of to get the opinions of former professionals, footballers, and that, unless you saw them in a newspaper or maybe on Sky TV. And obviously Sky was still in its infancy a little bit. I suppose it was well on its way in the 90s, but. You know, in terms of online, you didn't really have columnists and things like that. So the reason that I eventually didn't bother with having columnists anymore is because they were all over the place. So you could get everyone's opinion, as you know, as you can today by going on the internet, and you'll see various former football. Everyone's got an opinion, haven't they? And but back then I wanted to give something to Liverpool supporters that didn't have that access. You know, especially those fans overseas. So it was like I was on a mission to get the opinion of former greats and stuff like that, you know. And I was only a young lad. I suppose I was in mid-20s or something, early 20s, I can't remember, 24, maybe 23. And I felt like I was providing a service, you know. And Tommy Smith invited me to the FA Cup reunion for 1965 FA Cup winners reunion in Liverpool. Again, Tommy was a big help as well. And I was on Tommy's table that night with his family and very close friends or whatever, and I got introduced to all the squad, you know, from 1965, including Peter, and got speaking to Peter. Spent quite a long time with him, most of the night, talking to him about Liverpool and stuff like that. Now you've got to remember, I was a lad in my 20s, so I don't know what you're like if you're in your 20s, but does history interest you in terms of the past? You know, like, are you really interested in Liverpool players from the 70s and 80s and 90s, or, you know, depending on your age, whatever? I'd be interested to know that, because back then I wasn't. You know, I met a lot of these players, and the significance of who they were and how important they were to the club didn't mean anything to me, really. I didn't really understand. Like I say, I was a young lad in my 20s. I didn't know anything about Liverpool in 1965. You know, I wasn't born till 74, and I had no interest, really, you know. And I remember when Tommy Smith came from Liverpool to my house in Scarborough once, and he was getting changed in my bathroom to go to this do with me. And, you know, I had family downstairs, like, you know, and people were like walking, you know, in my house, like my uncle, and they'd be like, you've got Tommy Smith in your bathroom getting ready to go out. And I was like, yeah. Because it didn't really sink into me. My uncle was older than me. You know, he was a massive Leeds United supporter, but with a great deal of respect for Liverpool. He knew how good Liverpool were. You know, Liverpool and Leeds were rivals, you know. And he would have been, I guess he would have missed, I don't know, I suppose he would have seen, like, Tommy Smith's, you know, winning goal in you know what I'm saying? So to him, it was like, probably like one of us going, you got Mo Salah upstairs. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't fucking know the comparison to me. But what I'm trying to say is the history, it never really interested me. And I found that now, as a guy 44 this year, I've started to get more interested in history, not just to do with the club, but also politics and the country, you know, England and wars and things like that. So I don't. Is that an age thing? I guess it's got to be an age thing, innit? Because who gives a shit about that stuff when you're in your 20s? I was only interested in shagging and stuff like that, and drinking and fucking being, you know what I mean, having a good time. Until I got the website, and then I focused on that forever. But I was thinking, you know, I was thinking about this in the bath, like when I was chilling. I was like, God, isn't it weird how, like, back then you didn't really give a fuck about history, but today I do, and I was like, I need to ask my. Sorry, it crashed. I don't know why on this particular computer it keeps crashing after a while. I have to start again. But yeah, I was saying, I wanted to ask my peoples, what were you like that in your 20s, or if you're in your 20s or something, are you bothered about the past? I mean, maybe, you know, a bit of respect to it, like, oh yeah, this is what we did. But would you sit and watch hour-long documentaries and that, and would you read books about Liverpool's past? Are you only interested in the present? I'm very much an in the present time person. Do you know what I mean? With everything, whatever it is, whatever my interests, whether it's news or whatever. I don't want to know. I'm not really interested. The past is the past. But sometimes you've got to respect your past. You know what I'm saying? So let me know about that. That's important to me. You know, because I remember when I was a kid and my dad would be watching, you know, my parents would end up watching gardening programs. And I used to sit there thinking, what are you watching this shit for? Is that next? Do you know what I mean? Is that next? Anyway, so Peter Thompson, it's easy for me to give you some facts there. It says former Liverpool, Preston and Bolton winger Peter Thompson has died aged 76. Thompson scored 54 goals in 416 appearances for the Reds between 1963 and 1973 and won two First Division titles under Bill Shankly. He helped Liverpool win the FA Cup for the first time in 1965 and reached the European Cup Winners' Cup final in 1966. He was capped 16 times by England under World Cup winning manager Sir Alf Ramsey. Thompson was named in Ramsey's initial 28-man squads in 66 and 70, in the provisional squads, but didn't make it, he didn't make the cut, for the final 22 for both tournaments. Liverpool said they were deeply saddened by his passing and described Thompson as a shining light for much of Bill Shankly's reign as Reds manager. Described Thompson as a shining light for much of Bill Shankly's reign as Reds manager. Shankly, who died in 81, once said of Thompson, he could run forever, but more importantly in football, he could run with the ball. Probably the hardest thing to do. He could run every minute of every game, every week, every year, better than anybody else. His work rate was outstanding, his fitness unequalled, his balance like a ballet dancer. I have no hesitation in placing Peter up among the all-time greats alongside such players as Tom Finney, Stanley Matthews and George Best. There's plenty of articles. I would read. This is. I know this is going back to whether or not you're interested, but I think you should have a little mooch about read about him, because he was. Like my favourite all-time Liverpool player is John Barnes. The creativity, the flair. That was it. I was a kid. Met him when I was like 14, 15 a couple of times, and it was like meeting my absolute idol. And today I would still have the same kind of feeling. So I like them kind of players, and Peter was an outstanding player. And it's said, many times if you look into things, look up on him, it's said that people would have been willing to pay an entry fee on the gate at Anfield just to watch him train, just to watch him warm up, because he was that impressive. So when you start hearing things like that, that makes you realise the sort of player that he was. Do you know what I mean? We all hear this like Liverpool legend, or this player was fantastic, as Brendan Rodgers would say. But when people speak really, really highly, like Bill Shankly there himself saying that's someone that's very special. And I wasn't close to Peter. I'm not one of those people that's going to go, I knew Peter. I knew Peter through the website, and I had a good night with him, and we kept in touch. And he was living in Harrogate at the time, which is in North Yorkshire, not too far away from where I'm from. But I just, it's just a little bit emotional for me, because isn't it? Anytime if you know anybody that you've spoken to or had any dealings with, and they pass away, it's not nice. It's not nice. And he helped me. He helped me, and I'm very grateful for that. And here we are, 20 years on. Which I might not have been here if it were for people like Peter. So I'm very grateful for that, and at the same time, even though I'm not a big fan of history, although I like it a little bit more today, I do think he is one of those players from our past that all Liverpool fans should just have a little look today, little things. Who was this kid like? Was he as good as people said? I think he was a nice man, and that means everything to me. So we've lost one of the family today. I guess it's never nice to lose anyone. Going into a new year, Happy New Year for that family that'll be, in a week's time going to his funeral. So I don't know the ins and outs of everything. But I just wanted to. The reason I'm making the video really is to acknowledge Peter. And I do like to get your feedback on things. And if there's some people that watch my channel a little bit older, you might remember him. You might have seen him play. I obviously never saw him play, but you might have seen him play. Or there might be some of you have read something about him that can drop a little fact in the comments or something like that. So anyway, not to be too down about it. Life goes on for some of us, and although I'm not a big fan, of the New Year thing, New Year same shit and all that, and I think at the end of the day I've got to stop being so miserable, and realise that it is a new year, and we're all of us at the moment, touch wood, going into a new one together with our friends and families. So some of them, some people won't make it, as we've just learned. So but yeah, seriously, I want to thank you for all your support throughout the last year, especially my DKB.TV subscribers and members, and my KopTalk extra time subscribers to the podcast. So basically everyone that that really does step up and support makes I just want to wish you all the best more than anything. Thank you for everything over the last year, but also I want to thank all of you guys that watch my videos and comment. I know many of you are not in a position to support the whole KopTalk thing, but just the fact that you watch my videos and comment is really appreciated. That also applies to those of you that don't like my videos but still give me the view counts. Even if it's a thumbs down, you're still there, and I can see that you're still attached to me, so I like that. So DKB and all that, what I'm saying, guys. So have a good night, be safe if you're going out, and we'll catch up in a few days' time. I'll be doing the KopTalk podcast. Will be starting on Monday 9th of January, which is on iTunes. All right, so I'll be relaunching that and getting stuck into all those as well. So, but in terms of the next few days, I probably aren't going to be around here till Friday unless something major happens. Got a bit of company, what I'm saying, guys. All right, I'll speak to you soon, guys. I love you. God bless you, Peter. All right.